Where's my husband? Do you always do machine? Because I'm waist down. See, this is where we're having our level 2 done. Hi, so yeah, you guys are gonna go, wow, she's wearing the same outfit and a whole bunch of stuff, and because I have my makeup on, that's pretty much what I'm trying to make a whole bunch at one time. So I wanted to talk about my doctor's appointment. It was an unscheduled doctor's appointment because as many of you guys are gonna go. Janet, in your video, you said you had nothing planned, and I did. I had nothing planned for this week, but I woke up and I had well, Tuesday, hold on, let me look. The 26th, my employer was a real jerk. I'm not going to get really that far into it. He's just plainly put, he's a jerk. A real jerk. So anyway, so I was out of work. I left work early because I started throwing up at work. And I figured it was just stress related. So I figured, all right, I'll go home, rest, get up tomorrow, go to work. So Wednesday I got up and I was really crampy and my back hurt. And I'm like, well, maybe I didn't sleep well. So I'm like, oh, I'll just kind of take it easy. About 10 o'clock, the cramps were starting to get worse. And it was like, to me, it felt like it was like it felt like contractions, but I went, no, it can't be either. It's just cramping. So I went, okay, well, it's just cramping, but let me give them a call, because I had talked to my high-risk doctor on Tuesday night and told him what was going on, and he was beyond furious, and he just said, you know what, relax, take it easy. So I went in on Wednesday, and I went to see the regular OB, which I saw his wife, and she was livid to hear what had happened, but she was feeling my stomach, and she's like, my husband's going to see you next, right? I said, yeah. She said, okay, if he doesn't write you out of work, to come see me. And I'm like, okay. So I went over next door to him, and I mean next door. I mean like going down to the next room. Well, not next room, but the next office. So I went down there, and he was doing the ultrasound, and the nurse was in there. And he said to the nurse, he's like, okay, time it. I'm like, okay. And he said, okay, time it again. And then time it again. And I'm like, okay, what are you guys doing? I said, because these cramps are really, it's uncomfortable while you guys are doing this. When they were doing the ultrasound. And he said, okay, watch the screen. And he showed me, because you could see by the, my cervix and that, you could see they were watching. Everything stayed pretty steady. And then all of a sudden you could see it get all kind of fuzzy. And I'm like, what the heck? And he's like, that's a contraction. He's like, but I can't, he couldn't measure the placenta, like if it had moved or anything like that, because with the contractions, it just wasn't. And I had a whole bunch of pockets of blood between the placenta and the uterus, down by the cervix. So he's like, that's a pocket there, there's a pocket there. He's like, so he's like, he pulled the vaginal probe out, and he said, he's like, I don't want us to be the ones that are irritating them any more than what they are. He's like, your contractions are 5 minutes apart. I'm like, okay, so what does that mean for me? Like, am I having the baby now? And knowing very well in my head that I was going, baby's not going to live, baby's not going to live, baby's not going to live. It was one of those, like, what the heck is going on? So, we were there way too long. They gave me an IV, and he told me to relax. He said he said I gotta go make some calls. I'm like, okay, well to me that was odd. So I was laying there, and then he came back in, and he's like, all right, he's like, I gotta tell you what's going on. He's like, I've never had a patient go into, he's like, he's like, technically you're in labor. He said, but not, he's like, they're not getting closer than 5 minutes. He's like, which is good. He's like, but 5 minutes, he said, any contractions at 18 weeks are not good. Um, he's like, you might have some Braxton Hicks contractions here and there. He's like, but not where I can, he said, that's not good. He said, I think they're stress related. He's like, has anything else changed? I said, actually, this morning I did nothing, so it's not like I overdid it at home. So he was talking to me about, okay, well, did you do this? Did you do that? And I said, no, I did nothing, absolutely nothing. So he was saying to me, he said, well, he said the hardest part is a lot of the medications, he said really can only be used for, he said, about 12 weeks. He's like, they try not to use them over 12 weeks. So he's like, he's like, we want it to go, 18 weeks, 20 weeks. He's like, so, like he said to me, he's like, he didn't feel comfortable doing any medications right then and there for a long term. He said, we're going to try one medication. They tried, hold on, what was it? Because this is when he first came in. He said, I don't know what to even, he said, I'm stumped. Because he said, I don't know, his idea is just rest and hydration. He said, but that's not helping. So he called to the other hospital and said, talked to them, see if they had anybody that had ever been in labor where I was. So, so he came back. He said, all right, he's like, we're going to try just one thing. He's like, you don't need to be on it for long term. I want to say it was a magnesium sulfate that they use. They don't like to use it for long term. He said, but he said with that and bed rest, he said, he's like, basically if I can go, he said at least to the next 6 weeks without any more contractions, he said then he would feel better. But we need to stop the labor right then and there. Now, normally they like to keep you for 24 hours after giving it to you, just to watch you, but he said, you're not going to rest here. And we had a visiting nurse that he ordered to come in. It was every couple, it wasn't throughout the night, but she came shortly after I went home. Then she came first thing the next morning. And then it's been every couple hours that she stops in and checks on me. Which, because like today now I'm completely in the house, completely alone, which the high-risk doctor didn't really like, because it was the only way I could really be on bed rest. But our neighbors are home and they know what's going on. So I told the visiting nurse, I said, just walk right in, it's fine. I said, just, ring the doorbell as you're walking in. So I know it's you. Because I said, anybody that would be robbing the house isn't going to ring the doorbell on their way in. I said, my husband always texts me when he's home. So that way I know it's him when that's coming through the door. So, yeah, so we're doing that. before anybody goes, oh, well, that's not safe. Normally when he's home, we have the front door locked. We have all the doors locked. But because I'm home alone and I have to run downstairs to open the door, it doesn't make sense. So, I have my cell phone, so I will call the police right away if I need to. So, and we know a couple of guys that work in the police department, and we told them this morning. I gave them a call and told them that I'd be home alone, and they said, "Oh, we'll just stop and just kind of watch traffic." So, yeah. So I think I made this video long enough. So I will talk to you guys later. If you have any questions about what's going on, I'll let you guys know.